Okay.
Welcome,
Hello.
welcome. Beautiful guests, soccer fanatics all over the world. This is the first episode two,
Two halves and a 45.
and you are now joined by your most awesomely gracious host, Mr. Controversial. And
You can just call me Mr. L.
all right. So my brother from the same mother, how are we going to start this off today?
Well, first we have introduced ourselves and welcome our new guests and fans. We'll be talking about a lot of sports related activities as we
We can call
go
it
on. But for today, we are going to be focusing on a few matters at hand, preferably on the Premier League. So we're going to start with today and today's Premier League's matches. Well, the Premier League is now finished, which is another good Premier League season. We already know who the winners are. And like I told my brother, not to worry because Arsenal would eventually and with heavy heart, not.
Listen,
Waffle the
if
job.
you were to tell me that Arsenal, which you did, wouldn't was going to actually make it through, I'd have believed you because I was on that team for the better half of the season. Like there has never been a Premier League team that's held first place for 93% of the entire Premier League season and still bottle the job. That I've never heard of that before, man. I've never heard of it.
Ah, boy. The iconic bottle the job. It is a iconic saying, but we will nevertheless use it as we see fit. Now,
Right.
my brother, we had discussions earlier in the season about who might win, who might lose, who our relegation picks were. And I could say, if we could even just say, before we get to the full on of the Arsenal factor that played in, none of us saw Arsenal playing the way they played this season.
Not
And
even
I have to
Arsenal
applaud
saw that
and
coming.
amend
So
them.
definitely, for sure.
Yes, amend them for putting on such a great run. Everybody expected Liverpool, Chelsea, Manchester United, and well, I would add Tottenham, but no disrespect to the Spurs fans or anything. It's more like of a show to watch expressions. So,
Look, honestly, the two best fan channels I'd have to say is Arsenal Fan TV and Expressions Oozing.
yeah, no, even though we have to still give shout outs to everyone else is doing a fantastic job. It's inspiring a lot of people to get involved within the game themselves, put in their input. As you can see, Mr. Controversy over there. We will be having an episode, just so you know, guys, of is called the Controversy Corner. So please join us for that. It will be kicking off soon. And thank you for all your support. Anyway, back over to you, Mr. Controversy. Carry on, my
Yeah.
friend.
So since we're on the topic of bottling, let's talk about who we'd have to say is the biggest bottlers of the entire of the entirety of the five top leagues in Europe.
So when you say five top leagues, I'm guessing we're going through England, Spain, Italy, France, Germany, right? And then we're including and incorporating Europe. But if we start with the top five league, which is well known and announced, the biggest bottlers for me are the biggest losers for me would be Borussia Dortmund. I wouldn't say I
It's a bit of
am
a hot take, no?
a hater of Dortmund. I have no such
Yellow
thoughts
wall.
of Dortmund, but it is probably, you could see it in their face. It was rather a painful experience, knowing that you had it in your hands the last day and you let it slip out by some means that
You,
I cannot
how do
explain.
you explain literally having to just draw and you lose two of all teams?
I mean, well, if you look
Nice.
at the results,
Come on.
if you look at the results, they didn't lose. They drew the match, which ended up making them lose on goal difference because Byron scored more. But it was the fact that, they had it in their hands. RB Leipzig gave Bayern Munich hell for me, and they put Dortmund in the driver's seat. And for Dortmund to literally drive the car off a cliff, just so you know, Tesla seems to be the only one that can go off a cliff and you probably survive based on
Clearly.
recent reports. But you guys weren't driving a Tesla, I presume. And not no offense against Tesla.
Listen, they had it in their hands. All they had to
Yeah,
do was see out a victory. How do you,
I mean, you could go back and ask Arsenal the same question or any other team. I mean, it's been written in history. I mean, there's one time Liverpool had it in their hands. I mean, you go from
the
losing one
famous
game of
slip?
the season to losing the title at one point it, things like this just happens. But I mean, when you have an opportunity to win it at home, with all the noises and the composure you should take. I think Borussia Dortmund lost out right there. Maybe the similar task for Arsenal. I'm not sure. I'm not there, but it was pretty much devastating for both. But for in my humble opinion, I would say Borussia Dortmund is probably the feeling more sorry than Arsenal is. So I would say to you guys, uh, if you guys drink gin or rum or tequila and was partying, I think you should have just held back just a tiny bit for
Bellingham was
sorrows you're
already
about to
on the
cry.
on Ibiza. He was already in Ibiza. He was already in Spain. That's where his mind was because it wasn't on that match.
Yeah, clearly wasn't on that
Oh,
match. And again, and because Dortmund was lightning fast out of the blocks normally at home, they had win some pretty decent games by high scoring points, especially in the last about 4 or 5 games, I believe, that they were doing pretty decent. So, I mean, that collapse for me when is more than the Arsenal collapse. You could see Arsenal was going down the trend within a certain amount of games. I would say probably when 8 to 10 games left, the pressure
yeah.
started sinking on them. But I mean,
I
if you
don't
go
think
back,
anyone expected that though. Like, honestly, you'd have to say that again, there's no team in Premier League history that's gone 93%, right? Like, there's no way you would think like, okay, this team is about to just blow its engine right here at the finish line. That's
I mean, if you think about it, bro, I guess records are made to be broken, good or bad, right? I mean, if you look at it, there was one time there was no team in the Premier League that ever was at top in Christmas and lost, and Liverpool did that twice. So
hey,
I mean, records are made to be broken, good or bad, but you could see it coming. And I told you, not to just continue to watch. They're doing magnificent. My hats off to them. I give them props for what they have done. Massive achievement this season. Next season we'll see if they can do one better and go forward, or they will be just getting touched up like the rest. Because Man City and their juggernaut, and I just wanna before we
machine.
we
Machine.
move on, um, because we have to move on. The show must go on. We would like to talk about the most influential player debate. It makes no sense to go down the roster because we already know and our audience know that this season, monster,
Who
player, influencer.
Terminator?
Thank you very much, sir. Would be the one, the only Manchester City, number 9, Mr. Finish it off, please.
Erling Holland, the one and only Leeds legend. I'll tell you what,
I mean,
some Dortmund ain't win, but at least 2 people from Dortmund, 3 people from Dortmund won something this season. Say that much.
well, is there anything to say? Is there anything to continue saying?
I
I'm
don't.
going to throw something out there in a later version when we hit the controversial corner.
Right.
But we're going to carry on and say, is there any more accolades for this man? This man, whether
Honestly,
you're
at this
Manchester,
point,
go ahead.
honestly, at this point, there's absolutely nothing. Like he's literally come in to the league and made the English Premier League his own farmers league. Did you know that he said once, excuse me, once he retires, he wants to be a farmer? Imagine that. He's already started. He's already
I
started.
mean, what to say? What to say about this man? Uh, he has brought joy to all our lives. We have been waiting for our own, what would I say, piece of
Superstar, yeah,
gem, our superstar.
for sure.
Not minding that we don't have superstar, we have superstar defenders, superstar forwards, but just one more of that A-class touch, that
Right.
Midas touch.
Put us over the edge.
And again, let's move on to the winners of the transfer market, which is not to say this is not the Hurling Holland show, but to say this is the Manchester City year.
You gotta say, look, listen, Manchester City, for the better part of about 2 seasons have been, you could say oil money. They've been spending, of course. I mean, if you want to stay top, you got to spend. But if you were to look at their transfer dealings this season, there's no way you can tell me aside from them winning, clearly.
Yeah.
How much on Erling? Like about 60 million. How much on Manuel Akanji? What 15 million? 75 million? Then they went ahead and sold big top tier players. And I know some people might, look down on Zinchenko, but come on, man. Zinchenko was doing a business. First Premier League goal at Arsenal. He was starring the role. Like you're always seeing him. You can barely get past him. Zinchenko is a top player. Zinchenko left. Sterling left. Jesus left. And you brought in a $15 million player and turned him into an all-star. Come on, you gotta say it. You gotta say it.
Hurling Holland cost around 60 million.
Exactly. That is ridiculous.
What to say about the transfers of and the state of Manchester City? There's nothing to really say. I believe that they are the winners and the ultimate winners of this season's transfer market. Let's see how long may it continue, because they might just be the new treble winners. Of course, Manchester City's in the Champions League final and also the FA Cup final. Yes, they lost today and Championship Sunday, but they have rotated their team very, very well. So a lot of the starters were on the bench. And it's a team
$500 million bench.
Yes. Again, I said it.
Come on.
And so we we will say, and in my humble opinion again, Erling Haaland, Manchester City, with I believe they got a Kanji also from Dortmund. I'm not sure if he came this
15
year or
million
they came last year.
this year.
But
15.
what a piece of business. What a brilliant piece of business. You got to give a shout out to the special one, the coach, Pep Guardiola,
For sure.
for masterminding 3 Premier League titles in a row. Not done since Alex Ferguson, I believe.
Yeah.
And so Manchester United fans, is with
You guys aren't the
just
only ones no more.
yeah. So
Welcome to Manchester. The city is blue now.
Hey, but we got to move on real quick. So we're going to join this part now where we call the controversial corners. And there's 3 topics really in the controversial corner. We're going to run through them real quick. We're going to talk about the Manchester City charges. So Liverpool might end up, if you had saw like a tweet a long time ago from one Lucas Flavor of Liverpool, giving a little jab to Manchester City, saying, "Oh, with all them charges, hey, I might win a Premier League." Lucas Flavor
Right.
say, "Keep dreaming, my friend.
Gerard might just win
Keep
one too.
dreaming."
Listen,
you
listen.
know,
As to that, I think I have I wouldn't even say this is really a hot take, but I mean, okay, I'm not gonna pick favorites here. I mean, later, sooner or later, you guys will know who I, support. But I mean, you have to understand when it comes to playing football, everybody.
soccer
I'm sorry.
/ soccer.
Yeah, our soccer for our American fans, I got to shout out them as well for sure, for sure.
Yes.
But
Yes.
playing soccer, it's a game of 11 men.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes 12 if you include the coach. Really, it depends. It's like really like about 25, 28 sometimes, really, because it's the entire team. But if you can put these players together, put these single pieces together, and have it come out to playing this brilliant, fluid football where people just are like watching in awe. At what point are you gonna say, okay, can other teams not play the same football and win the same amount of matches, or is it just like solely because it's like oil money? Like I'm trying to figure out if it's like I'm not saying like people aren't hating now, but it's like, dude, the money and the players, yeah, they go hand in hand, but we all pay a lot of money. Why is it that like you got to take away the trophies when the players had nothing to do with that part of it? You understand what I'm trying to say?
Well, I'm going to say this, and in addition, you sound like a defense lawyer. So you can continue to go down that path of goal and
Right.
join Richard Nixon.
Okay.
And I say this, sir, we haven't even finished the charges yet.
This isn't
So,
Overgate. Come on now. Like,
so
this
with
is
that said, we are going to move on from the city charges because we're not going to spend a very long time in this corner right here. It's a controversial corner, as I said.
right.
And we're going to go back on our second topic, which is the Messi Ronaldo. So quickly go over Messi and Ronaldo. For a long time, they have been icons of the game. They made us all had full joy. And I'm going to turn this quick part over to Mr. Controversial before I go on to the third topic of the controversial corner. Go ahead, Mr. Controversial.
All right. So in regards to this quick debate here between Messi and Ronaldo, I gotta say my top pick, I wouldn't say this is too controversial. I was always a fan of Ronaldo. I mean, if the way he takes on to no, don't get me wrong, Messi, he is the best player in the world to most soccer fans, to most football fans. But for me, when I was watching football, it was how Ronaldo, I don't know, for me, it's like he built himself, you know? Like
Well, I'm going to drop this in there because this leads right into my third topic, um, for the final topic of the discussion, which is, have you now started seeing that there is a new sheriff in town, which is the PSG prime player and the Manchester City newly assassin,
yeah,
taking the mantle from these two gentlemen. Your
right.
thoughts?
So my thoughts are it happens. This is football, new generation, gives you new stars, new storylines are written. Everything happens with time. We had over almost 15 years, right?
Yeah.
15 years of brilliance. The
Yeah.
utmost. El Clasico was it was the top it was like honestly it was like equivalent to the NFL Super Bowl here. You had to say every El Clasico, you saw warriors. But
Yeah.
you gotta give it up to the
Yeah.
new faces nowadays. Good, it was good while it lasted, but it is now Mbappe and Haaland show. You gotta give it up to the new boys now.
Yes, yes, yes. And with that said, this is the controversial corner, and we are now returning back to our regular program. And so, our regular program, we wanted to talk about real quickly because we are slightly running on time for our show,
For
which
sure.
is which is what leagues to watch out for next season. And before we even get started, I want to personally give a shout out and included with Mr. Controversial to the Antigua and Barbudan League, the Digicel Red Stripe Premier Division. It was founded in 1968. It has, I think, 10 teams at the time. The Empire won the most titles so far, 13 titles. But give a big ups to Granada FC, the new champions, that actually annihilated Empire 7-0. So I want to give a shout out to those guys.
That's
I'm going to be
amazing.
doing this a lot. And everybody, our fans, go view it, check it out, give them a big ups, give them a big like. So, anyways, continue, Mr. Controversial. What five? We got to run through this real quick. What teams, what leagues should we be looking out for next season?
All righty. Next season, I would say, for our first show here, obviously, I'm going to give one of the, top 5 European leagues. Next show, for sure, we're going to dive in more. But for this season, you got to watch the Eredivisie. If you want to see young and developing talent, if you want to see stars, literally coming out of every team, young ballers,
AKA Cody Geppo.
aka Cody Gakpo. But that's definitely the league that you want to take a look at for next season. They have some big name players. I'm not gonna name any of them right now, but due to time constraints. But for sure, that's where you want to go for primetime young talents next season.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And with my pick, I would say go just check out the Swiss League, my friends. Go check it out. Basel is
Right?
up there. I know it might be not one of the, but they've been doing really, really well. I mean, Basel was in a European quarterfinals this season. Hey, big ups to West Ham. Hopefully, West Ham, just like Manchester City, and the opponents for all the European leagues, for all the leagues. I want to say big ups. Give all the fans that are joining to watch you guys a spectacular game like we know you guys can. So just big up to all the fans that are going. Big up to all our fans too.
All righty.
Thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
So yes, big ups. And with that being said, we do have to say, please stay tuned for the next episode of
245s. Nope, actually, 2 halves and a 45. Gotcha. Peace. Thank you all. Love, support, like, subscribe. 1. Like the mask, don't worry. Merch will soon be on the line for everybody.
You can put that on the shirt. Thank you.